Hey guys, my name is Emma and today I've got my bullet journal flip through for my 2019 setup and for January. So this is my new bullet journal. It is a Scribbles That Matter one. This time I've got in the burgundy red shade and I had the dark green last year. I really like them. I think they're awesome and I'll link everything down below. So let's jump in. Just a quick little cover page, nice simple. I leave all my index and everything blank because I tend not to use them. My hands are so cold that I can't actually open the pages. There we go. So I first of all just did a really quick sort of title page for 2019. I saw something similar to this on Instagram, so I thought I'd give it a quick sort of go. I really enjoyed it. Most of the pens I use are the Crayola Super Tips, but I'll link everything down below as well that I tend to use. First thing we have is important dates, which I've put in, and there's vague colour coding going on for things like birthdays, anniversaries, etc, etc, and I can fill this in as the month goes, or as the year goes, sorry. Then we have my reading challenge for 2019. I'm aiming for 100 books again. This is coming up to the end, so it's the end of January, beginning of February, and I've read 20 books so far. So this is 100 books, and when I read them I colour them in. The colours don't mean anything, it's just what I think looks aesthetically pleasing. Then we have, so it's a goal of mine to prioritise non-fiction and classics in 2019, and I specifically want to read 20 of each. So this is where I am tracking them so I get an idea of what's going on throughout the year, so I don't get to like November and freak out. So far I've read 3 of each kind, which I think is doing pretty darn well. Then we have my books out on loan page. Don't know whether you can see that, but I've got a bunch of books out on loan to friends and family, and it's just a way that I can keep track of what I've actually got. I'm supposed to put on here books that I've been loaned as well. Dad's loaned me a few and I need to fill them in. And then I've just got a readathon calendar so that I can keep an eye on what readathons are coming up when, so I remember that I want to do them. For example, there'll be Spookathon and Dewey's 24-hour one in October. I know November is non-fiction November, and it just means that I can kind of see what's happening, and if there are several options then I can decide which one I want to do. I'm doing something funky in 2019 to try and limit my book buying, and that's where I am only allowing myself to buy a new book once I've read 2 off of my to be read pile. And the idea is that I will hopefully end up with fewer books on my bookshelf that I've not actually read yet. So what I'm doing here is once I've read a book and taken it off of my to be read pile, I will colour in here, and then when I buy a book with a book credit I colour in and then mark off the date that I bought it. So I currently have 4 credits earned, and I've spent 3 of them so far. This was my total at the beginning of the year of how many books on my to be read pile, so I'm trying to get that down. It doesn't count if I buy a book that I've already read or I have in a different format. So if I buy like the physical book of something that I have an audiobook of, or vice versa, those don't count on here. And also if I read a book that wasn't actually on my TBR shelf, I don't get a credit for it. So all these funky challenges with mum and my partner are not adding to this. This is my stitch planner. I do a lot of embroidery and I really want to try and prioritise it this year. Done terribly in January, not filled it in yet, so the idea is I want to finish 20 projects in 2019, and I'm just going to make little notes of what they are when I get through them. I do need to start prioritising this. Then we have just a few more tracker things. I've got my book world tour information, so I'm trying to read a book from every country, and when I do that I'm just writing them down right in the country, and then when I make a wrap up for that specific one I'm going to draw a line under it so I can kind of keep track of what's going on there. This is 20 things to do before 2020. I've only actually got 6 written down. These are just funky things that I want to try and get done throughout the year, as they're sort of, I'll add more as they come to me. So I wanted to learn to knit, for example, and go to a museum. I've done those already, so I'm just kind of working my way through and adding more on. I'm still doing my MBA, so these are all the modules of when they are due, etc, etc. It will be done by April, so not too worried about that. This is a YouTube planner page for any specific things I want to do in specific months. Look how bright it is. For example, I know that I'll want to do like a mid-year goal check-in in July, so as I keep an eye on what I have planned. So YouTube mind up page, and then a spare one here for when I drift over. I really love the font on this page. I had so much fun with fonts for the beginning part of this. And then we hit January, but I just had a spare page left, and I thought it'd be really interesting to see like when I finish books and whether there's sort of a regular spread of how many days are in between before I finish a book. So I've got a little colour coding thing down here, and I basically colour in each day when I finish a book. So there's been a few where I finished 2 or 3. This was the 24 and 48 readathon, which as you can see I did brilliantly in because I read loads. but most of the time it's these little purple squares, and it's just nice to kind of see it progress. Then we go for January. So my theme for January is just floral in general, because I really couldn't pick what kind of flower I wanted to do. So we're just going to go floral today. So we have, I can't lift it over, my little cover page. Then we have my video planner where we went for some daisies, which was lovely. I really liked most of the spreads in January, to be honest. So I'm doing my classic filmed, edited, posted, and then you get to colour in when I've done them. I have actually filmed the Briggs tag, I just haven't posted it yet because I ran out of time in January. Then I did a top 8 of 2018, and this was my spread to keep track of that, to make sure that I got them all done in time. They are now out. You can find them in my channel in one big block. Then we have my book journal. There's quite a few errors in this particular flip through. I don't know if you've noticed some of them already, but one of them is here. Apparently this is a book journal, not journal anymore. But this is just where I write down all of my thoughts on the books as I'm reading them. We have some pretty flowers. My monthly planner, just so that I can keep an eye on what is going on. I love the colour scheme of this one. I think it's gorgeous. Then we have my habit tracker, which we did as lavender, which was again very pretty. I read every single day, but all of the other ones were a bit of a mess. I think my phone's ringing, but we're just going to keep powering through. Then we go into kind of my weekly planners. So we did daffodils for the first one, nice simple with a task list here. I did a lot of Dutch doors this month. So NBA tracker and winter TBR, that was transferred from the previous book journal, and these are my snowdrops. Then I love this spread. I did a weekly planner, but I also did the task list the other side. I did a lovely quote for Here Comes the Sun for sunflowers, and I tried to go like really sketchy with them. I don't know how well you can see that. And then we have just some trackers for some videos that I've got going on, so that I can keep an eye out on what I'm planning on reading. I've got a marketing project at the moment, which I'm really behind on. That's what I'm avoiding doing today, so that's a way to monitor that. Then I've got another weekly planner, this time for foxgloves with a little flippy. There's one in between lily pads, which I really didn't use or enjoy because I was away for most of this, getting a tattoo. And then this week's one, which is, I don't know what flowers these are, but I just thought this was gorgeous. And again, a little quote page there where I did misspell through I'm an idiot. So that is there. And then that is it for January. So tune in next month where I'll show you February. I'm trying to do shorter ones now. And yeah, that's it from me. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I'll chat to you soon. Bye guys!